Speaker. Nice to see you. Prime Minister of Canada. Bill Barrison. Thanks for doing this. And the longest serving clerk of any legislature in any parliament in the entire world. George McMahon.
52 years ago.
Oh my goodness. You must be older than you look.
I admire
I think what they want to do now is get some pictures.
Let's stand up and backwards. Okay. Where do you want us?
So we have 3 spots here, gentlemen. We can have one on each spot, and I can see the speaker's chair in the background.
It almost this was historic.
Speaker, we can get Mr. McMahon in here as well.
Why don't you get Mitchell, George? You want him?
I think he was going to have you right here. And George.
Thank you.
Yes.
You have to see it before we walk.
We don't want to. Honourable members, this is truly a historic day in the province of British Columbia. This time I'd like to ask the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada, to address the British Columbia Legislative Assembly. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, the Honourable Bill Barrison, Premier of the Province of British Columbia, the Honourable Gordon Campbell, Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Carol James, distinguished members of the Legislative Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, c'est un immense plaisir d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui dans le cadre de cette célébration de votre province et de notre pays. It is an enormous pleasure for me to be here today for this momentous and great celebration of your province and of our country. I've often said that the best thing about being Prime Minister is the unparalleled opportunity I have to travel the length and breadth of this vast country and to meet the wonderful people who call it home. Today, in these travels, as the Speaker mentioned, we are undertaking a first. In all the years since 1871, when British Columbia made that momentous decision to join the new Dominion and to truly make it a country from sea to sea, no Prime Minister has ever formally addressed this great assembly. And I want to thank the Speaker of the House for providing me with this opportunity. Sir, you do me, and in fact, all of you do me, a very great honor, and I appreciate it. So here we are in the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia. British Columbia. Canadians from coast to coast to coast have known you for decades by the slogan on your license plates, Beautiful British Columbia. It is no exaggeration. The natural beauty is almost always the first thing people notice about British Columbia when they arrive. The famous Canadian historian and essayist Stephen Leacock put it rather well a very long time ago, describing his maiden trip to BC in his book entitled My Discovery of the West. He recalled a question that had been posed to him at a Canadian club function in Vancouver. I was asked why. He said, I had never visited the province before. I said that like so many other people, I'd never come to it because I didn't realize how wonderful it was. If I had known what it was like, I wouldn't have been content with a mere visit. I would have been born here. BC's unmatched beauty and its promise of a better life has never lost its power to enchant and to enthrall and to draw ever more newcomers to its sparkling shores. It began with the myriad nations of our first peoples whose spirit has animated this land for thousands of years. It continued with the great explorers, John Finley, Simon Fraser, Alexander Mackenzie, David Thompson, those who sought to connect it to the wider economic forces of the continent. It captured the imagination of a generation of adventurers who traveled enormous distances when gold was discovered on the Fraser River. And it was at Craigellachie, where the last spike of the Canadian Pacific Railway, the single most important nation-building project in the history of our country, was driven. And ladies and gentlemen, British Columbia is still calling out now to all of the peoples of the world. From a sparsely populated outpost of our country, BC has become the third largest province, boasting one of the most cosmopolitan and livable cities in the world, still growing fast, and leading Canada's way into a new century, a century that will be defined by the opportunities of the Asia-Pacific region, for which British Columbia is Canada's gateway. How the generation of 1871, John Foster McCreight, Amour de Cosmos, and all the rest, how they must marvel at the British Columbia of 2010. The British Columbia with the talent, with the energy, with the capability to host huge world-class events like the Olympic Games that will be open tomorrow.